In a past interview, you said there's so many great Asian players. And you said that some of them don't get the exposure I do, and in some ways it's unfair. They deserve more. Why do you think Asian players don't get exposure?
Well, first of all, you know, with television and everything, it's all about marketing,
Right.
you know, and a lot of the Asians, they don't speak as good of English, and they have an accent or whatever, or they're not marketable,
Mm-hmm.
and which, you know, in some sense, it's unfair.
Right.
But I don't know what to say.
Oh, and also you're more marketable. You're a chick.
Yeah,
A really
and there's a lot more guys,
Right.
male poker players. So it's like, you know, when the Asian market, okay, opens up,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the Asians will be approached with
That'd be
endorsement deals. It's great. It's great because, you know, a lot of my friends, they are so good,
Right.
and yet, you know, none of them's got any endorsement deals or anything.
Yeah, well,
And
hopefully that'll change.
and a lot of times I do feel it's unfair.
Mm.
But there's really nothing you can do about it because it's all about television.
Right.
Just like, you know, my first final table,
Mm-hmm.
I played quite well. I mean, I went from like 8th place in chips all the way to 2nd place. And then when I watched it on TV, they only showed 2 hands. One was Scott Fishman bluffed me with 8 deuce, and then the second hand was when I got knocked out. But it's understandable now because at my table back then, there were 5 bracelet winners.
Right.
And 3 of them were, you know, Alan Cunningham, Devilfish, and
Scott Fishman?
Scott Fishman.
Right.
So, of course, you know, they're going to market him because
Right,
that's
makes
what the
sense.
viewer wants to see.
Mhm.
So,
All right. Earlier this year, you made a huge change in your life and you moved to London. How is that going for you, relocating like that?
it's been going well. Business is good,
Yeah.
and the main reason for me moving there is because of business opportunities. But I moved in July, the end of July.
August, right? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, the end of July, the beginning of August. But I haven't been there much because, you know, my father passed away the end of August. So I've been back in Vietnam more than I've been in London.
Right. But is it a little hard to adjust to a foreign country by yourself?
It is, yeah. I really miss home. I mean, I miss my mom, my
Right.
friends, the warm weather. It's freezing over there. And I miss my car. I can't drive. But I mean, you have to give up some. I mean, you know, give up some and take some. Oh,
Right. But it was a good thing for you, for business anyway.
it is. I guess.
All right. The National MS Society, Women in Need Foundation, your charity work in Vietnam, the commitment you made to support your parents. Why is all of this? What's with all the giving back?
Because I always believe in what goes around comes around,
Mm-hmm.
and you just can't take. You know, you got to give back.
Right.
And you know, that's what my parents always taught me, especially my father. And so now that he's passed away, it even means more to me to even do more charity. And since we're having this interview now,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I just decided that, you know, I am going to make, you know, my charity in Vietnam my main priority right now. And I just recently spoke with the founder of WIN,
Mm-hmm.
and I have dropped WIN as one of my charities.
Really?
Yes.
That's a good thing, though, right?
It is a good thing because, you know, my last trip to Vietnam, I did something completely different.
You and John went, right?
No, John and I went the previous time, about a month and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just back there 3 weeks ago
Mm-hmm.
for my dad's 100th day. And I did something, I mean, nothing like how I did before. I went to the Children's Cancer Hospital, and I picked out 25 kids that were at their last stage, and I gave them money and to grant them their last wish.
Oh.
Hmm. Then I went to this.
Was that tough?
It was very tough, and also it was a big hospital, but it really hit home when I went in the cardiology area. Yeah.
Yeah.
because that's how my father passed away.
Right.
So, I mean, that really touched me. And then I also went, way out there, like, the charities that John and I did before. We went to poor villages, but this time I went like clear across, like in the middle of nowhere, where I had to drive 3 hours by car and then go like 3 hours by boat.
Wow.
To this little village with no electricity, no heat, no food, no nothing. They live like in the old days.
How did you hear about that?
Well, I had a monk that went with me 4 days in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's got all these connections to where, all these poor people that are really, really needing food and clothing and all that. So, he went with me,
Mm-hmm.
and then I also got a whole crew to help me. And I did that, and then I did a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
this past trip, it just really, really, really opened my eyes. Like, my country needs more than, I know everywhere, has people that are suffering and all that. But now that my father passed away, it means a lot more to me doing charity back in my home.
Right, well,
So
that's understandable.
I had to drop one. I mean, with 3 charities that I support, splitting my 20% into 3, they're really not going to make much.
Right.
So I had to decide to drop one. So I had to decide to drop one.
Well, I always thought you were the sweetest person when I met you because it was one of my first tournaments, Reno,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, 2 years ago, when you did really well and you cashed. You gave us a tip, the media. And no one had ever done that, or maybe not to me anyway. So I always thought that you were really sweet just for that reason. Where did the Poker Diva name come from?
The Poker Diva came from poker players because it was the way that I dress.
Yeah.
And everybody always says that they never see me wear the same outfit twice.
I haven't.
Well, it's true. It's true. So that's where the Poker Diva.
Are you still really into fashion? Like you were talking about your own line and stuff a while ago.
I still am into fashion, but also, like I said, with doing so much charity and with, so much things happening in my life that has happened in the last 6 months, my way of thinking is a lot different than it used to be.
Right. And you still have to have time to make money for charities.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I'm no longer thinking, okay, let's just say clothing is not my number 1 priority right now.
Right. I know this is a male-dominated sport. How important is it for you to stay feminine?
Oh, you know what? I just joined right in. There is no female. No.
Right.
I'm playing with the boys. I'm just like one of the boys. That's it.
All right. What about dating poker players? Good idea or bad idea if you're already a poker
comment.
player? No comment.
No comment.
No comment. All right. All right. You once said in an interview that poker players often pay a big price in order to be successful. What's the biggest price you've had to pay so far?
Loneliness.
Really?
Yeah. Like you said, when I said the no comment, it's very tough to date a poker player. And then, if everything turns out good, then fine and dandy. It's nice. But if it doesn't, there's so many things, rumors. It's a poker world. But with me, with business now, I have to give up a lot. Like my happiness, it's tough to find somebody that's going to accept me traveling across the globe, and not be home.
Unless they come with you, I guess.
Yeah, and it's like,
work.
sometimes there's certain things that money just can't buy. But, I really don't have a choice because I still have a lot of people I have to support. So
do you think it's all worth it?
In a sense, yes. In a sense, no.
You go back and forth?
Well, yeah, I go back and forth. But if I really, really think about it, all these years I've sacrificed a lot for my parents and their well-being, and it's all worth it because, at the end, I know my dad passed away. He was happy, so it was all worth it.
All right, Liz. Thank you. Thank you for coming in.